purpose of this video is to detail some of the internet options that are available to rural customers. If you're watching this video, you may be like me. I live out in the middle of nowhere. There's no access to cable internet. There's no access to DSL. The only options are satellite or wireless. There still exists quite a gap in the United States. Rural customers are very underserved when it comes to high-speed internet. And while the government has put money into expanding accessibility for rural internet customers, the simple fact exists that it is not cost-effective for the larger companies like AT&T and Time Warner to run the fiber to rural areas where they will only serve a small amount of people. So that leaves us who are out here having to get creative to come up with some options for rural internet service. This is the third review video that I've done like this. And the reason I'm doing another video is because options are constantly changing. Over time, technology advances and some options go away and some options come back online. I'm going to attempt to cover some of the actual service options for rural customers and also the hardware options that are available to bring the service to your house. Alright, I'll start by talking about long-range Wi-Fi. Long-range Wi-Fi is something that's been around for a while, and smaller companies are setting up antennas and beaming Wi-Fi signals over the distances of 5 to 10 miles or more to houses on a small basis. And it's actually relatively easy to set up shop and have a company like this. All you need is a high-speed internet connection where you are. But likewise, if you are a person who is out in the middle of nowhere and yet there is high-speed internet somewhere relatively close, within 5 to 10 to 15 miles, it's now become cost-effective for the average consumer to purchase the equipment, and possibly you might have a friend who lives in the city that's not too far away from you. If they're willing to share your internet or get another subscription to it where you can pay them, you can actually set up the equipment where you can do a line-of-sight transmission with long-range Wi-Fi. And basically how it works is there are two directional antennas and they have to be aimed directly at each other. There can't be any hills or foliage or anything in the way. It's line of sight. So the key is to get the antennas as high as possible. You have to aim them at each other, and you can get, in theory, up to around 20 miles of range. Some of the manufacturers of consumer-grade equipment is Ubiquiti or Ingenious, and they range in price from $200 to $2,000. Like I said, they have a 15 to 25 mile range, and they have to be line of sight. The next type of service I'll talk about is satellite internet. Satellite is popular because you can get it almost anywhere. If you are in an area where there is no access to any type of cellular coverage or other traditional means of internet service, your only option may be satellite internet. Good news is that there are some new options with satellite. The main one being the Viasat 2. A satellite was recently launched that has much faster speeds than previous satellite internet service. The big problem that most people have with satellite internet is the latency, which is the amount of time it takes the signal to travel back and forth. And since it's going such a long distance over satellite, it makes it difficult for gaming and other applications like voice over internet protocol phones and such, where latency becomes a concern. Also, there are not really any good unlimited satellite options. Some of the companies will make claims that they have unlimited service, but it's really only certain hours of the day, like after midnight till 5 in the morning, which realistically, unless you're just downloading updates during that time, that doesn't do anything for anyone. I know a lot of people who run out of their satellite the amount of data that they have within a week out of a month. And then they're stuck either paying overages or their speeds are greatly reduced. Satellite also suffers from many of the problems that satellite TV suffer from. That is, weather conditions can degrade or completely eliminate coverage. So overall, satellite may be your only option, and with this new Viasat 2 satellite, it might be an even better option. It's supposed to be a lot faster, but it could still suffer from some of the problems related to satellite. In my opinion, if you can get LTE internet at your house, it would be a much better choice than satellite, but for some of you, it may be your only option. Like I mentioned previously, the federal government has been putting out grants to wireless carriers to boost rural internet coverage. And one of the companies that is taking advantage of this is AT&T. AT&T has launched a fixed wireless internet service, and it's similar to the Verizon LTE installed that I talked about in my previous video. I used to have Verizon LTE installed, and while it started off decent, considering I had no other options out here, it is still capped at certain data limits, and you pay large amounts of money for any amounts that you go over. Also, in my area, the service has progressively slowed down. They've put no money into upgrading towers, and more people have come on to the Verizon service out here, and it almost became impossible to watch an HD video without constant buffering. AT&T, on the other hand, has started rolling out its fixed wireless internet service. Residents in Arkansas, California, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Michigan, Ohio, Texas, and Wisconsin are just starting to come online with this service. They already offer service in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee. And it's not available across all areas of each state. It's usually only available in rural areas. Unfortunately, where I live, even though we are rural, in my county, AT&T fixed wireless internet is not yet available. I'm not sure exactly why, since I have great LTE AT&T coverage at my house, but the county next to me has the service live, and I assume it's because AT&T is still rolling it out. They have pretty strict criteria for its use, but they will come to your house, do a site survey, install fixed antenna receivers on your roof or the side of the house, and then connect it to a router inside that has Wi-Fi, just like any other internet service. Like I said, if you watched my previous video where I talked about the Verizon 4G internet installed, it's very similar, except AT&T fixed wireless internet has much larger data amounts for reasonable prices. I'll put a link in the description, that way you can check it out. It might be an option for you, and it might be a good one. And it's one of the relatively few completely legitimate rural internet services that is actually reasonable on price and gives you large amounts of data. AT&T previously had the wireless home phone and internet service, which if you were a rural customer, you could get either 250 or 500 gigabytes a month, which is more than enough for most customers, once again for the sub $100 range. This was only available in certain markets, but it is now being phased out with the introduction of the AT&T fixed wireless internet. Alright, I will cover the Verizon 4G internet installed, because for some of you that may be one of your only options. And it is comparable to satellite, except it is actually better in a few ways. With Verizon LTE Internet installed, if Verizon has good coverage in your area with 4G LTE, they can come out to your house, do a site survey, install the equipment. It is better than satellite because it's low latency, and you can get a public IP address that you can use with security cameras and other equipment that requires the public IP address. Verizon says that you have between 5 and 12 megabits per second download speeds and between 2 and 5 megabits per second upload speeds. Wi-Fi connectivity for up to 20 devices. You'll have your Ethernet ports for 4 devices. Installation is included with no activation fee, and it takes about 2 hours on average. But like I said, the drawbacks are it is relatively slow, at least in my area, and it is not unlimited. In fact, it's very pricey. For just 10 gigabytes a month, the cost is $60. For 20 gigabytes, $90. For 30 gigabytes, $120. And for 40 gigabytes, $150 a month for 40 gigabytes. It's actually crazy. You'd be much better off going with another service like Unlimitedville, which I'll talk about in just a minute. That brings me to our next option. There's a company called Unlimitedville, and there will also be a link in the description below to their website. I personally have never used this service, but they do have high reviews. It uses all four big networks, T-Mobile, Sprint, Verizon, and AT&T, to provide internet service based upon what mobile operators are available in your area. Each plan has a different price. They are all completely unlimited, according to Unlimitedville. The prices range starting at $149 a month on T-Mobile, up to $249 a month if you're on Verizon. So you will have to pay big bucks if you want unlimited Verizon service through Unlimitedville. Even $149 a month is extremely expensive to me, but if you're stuck, it's possibly an option. The next one I will cover is 4GAS, or 4G Antenna Shop. If you watched my previous videos, I discussed this company greatly at length because it is who I used for my personal internet service. They had multiple options, including AT&T and T-Mobile. I no longer use them for internet just because I have something that's better now, but they are still a great option as far as I understand. It appears that 4G Antenna Shop was either sold or moved from Illinois to Florida. Their website still offers different options, but they have one main plan. Their plan is $80 a month for unlimited internet. They are very careful to say in the description that it's really 50 gigabytes before you are deprioritized, but it is truly unlimited. If you live out in a very rural area, especially with T-Mobile coverage where the towers are not loaded, you will likely never see a change after 50 gigabytes. At $80 a month, this is still one of the best deals around for truly unlimited internet. There are other options for rural internet customers that are legitimate that I may not have covered. I just covered the big ones. Unlimitedville and 4G Antenna Shop, AT&T Fixed Wireless Internet, and LTE Internet Installed are the four main companies that I would consider mainstream and legitimate for wireless rural customers. If you're willing to do a little more work and are willing to accept the fact that you may not have internet tomorrow and are ready to get a new type of coverage, there are some ways that you can save a ton of money and pay under $10 a month for unlimited internet. I do not necessarily condone some of these services. I'm just going to show you what they are and explain to you with the disclaimer that your mileage may vary. I'll start this portion by talking about a plan that is no longer available that many of us still enjoy today, and that is the AT&T Connected Car Wireless $20 a month plan, also known as the Mobley plan. For a while, AT&T was selling a ZTE Mobley device that the service started out as $40 a month for unlimited internet on. And the point of it was to plug it in inside of your car in your OBD2 port, and you would have internet for up to 5 wireless devices on a Wi-Fi network in your car while you're on the road. Well, it soon became very apparent that all you had to do was apply power to this device in your house, and then you had another solution for home internet with the ZTE Mobley. What made it even better was AT&T lowered the price from $40 a month to $20 a month, and you had unlimited internet access for $20 a month on a postpaid consumer AT&T account. Completely legitimate. Unfortunately, AT&T no longer offers this option, but if you are on the plan, it has been grandfathered, and you might be able to find some of these plans for sale on the internet. If you could pick one up and transfer the account, it would be a great thing. If you look on eBay, you'll see multiple 4G LTE devices that come with plans when you purchase them. One of them is the eBay $29.99 AT&T Unlimited Plan. And it usually comes with a mobile hotspot, something like a Unite Explorer, and it's advertised as being $29.99 a month for unlimited internet access. There's really nothing special about this plan, and there's nothing that these people are doing for you by selling you this. If you can get it for a great price from someone on eBay, that's fine, but this plan is something that you can get yourself. All it is a iPad or AT&T Android tablet plan. They do offer a prepaid tablet plan for $29.99 unlimited a month. You can activate the SIM on a tablet and, in theory, put it into any LTE router and use it however you'd like. So far, AT&T has not been really cracking down on this practice, although, like I said, your mileage may vary and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. There'll be a link below in the description to the AT&T website where you activate this plan. You will need a AT&T tablet or AT&T compatible tablet IMEI number and a unactivated AT&T SIM card, which can be purchased online easily. Another option has been, there was a $5 a month Verizon 3G Unlimited Plan that you could buy on eBay. According to my research, this is slowly being phased out, and Verizon is actively trying to find and eliminate these plans. What it is a certain type of prepaid account that was $5 a month and was never meant to be used as a data plan, but certain people are able to flash a MoFi wireless hotspot with the information from one of these plans, and for $5 a month, as long as you kept it paid up, you would have unlimited 3G internet. This all originated in the United States, and so far, as long as you can handle 3G speeds, which is good for just regular internet browsing, you had unlimited internet for $5 a month. You still can find these if you do a eBay search for unlimited Verizon 3G, $5 on eBay. You will find some of the devices and plans still available. There is now a new 4G LTE Unlimited Verizon plan for $5 a month that you will also find on eBay. The difference is, instead of 3G, it's 4G, which is a good thing. There are some drawbacks though. Like I said, there's no way that you can legitimately have unlimited Verizon 4G LTE for $5 a month. And it appears that the workaround is some sort of prepaid service based in Canada. Most people who have the unlimited 4G LTE from Verizon for $5 a month have reported that they have a lot of trouble streaming Amazon Prime Video, Hulu Video, Netflix, etc. in the United States. YouTube appears to work okay, but these other services have had a lot of problems, and that's because it shows your IP address as originating out of Canada, and these video services are based on your location, therefore they don't work properly. There are some claims from some of the sellers of these devices that this has been fixed and you are now able to stream Netflix and Hulu, etc. from the United States. Do your research. It's $5 a month. While these devices have a great $5 a month price tag, they are a little pricey to purchase up front. For the unlimited 3G Verizon wireless device, you can easily find them for under $100 on eBay. The unlimited 4G LTE devices are a minimum of $225 all the way up to about $300. They do have a lot more of a price tag on your initial cost, so you do have to factor that into the $5 a month price. Whether it's worth it to you or not, I don't know. What I see one of these being used for is possibly if you're just doing some camping or RVing and it's not your primary internet at home, one of these devices would be good to take with you on the road. There's not a lot of cost involved, and it may prove reliable enough to be good for traveling. When it comes to hardware options for your rural wireless internet, it's a little different than a traditional wireline service that you would have if you lived in a city. Unlike where AT&T or Time Warner would give you their cable modem or other equipment, with the wireless internet services, you're able to use the same router for a lot of different companies, which is good because you can try different services without having to buy new equipment. One of the most popular routers for rural wireless internet is the MoFi Systems MoFi 4500. It's popular because it can be used on Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and now even Sprint. The MoFi 4500 has an LTE modem and Wi-Fi router built into one. It's based on the Open WRT standard, therefore it can be easily upgraded and has a ton of features. There are constant firmware updates to address various issues, and I can tell you that based on my personal experience, there's a lot you can do with the router. Also, it's very reliable. There's only been a couple of times in the years that I've owned the MoFi 4500 that I've had to reset it. It also has the ability to simulate being certain mobile devices. For instance, if you have certain T-Mobile plans, it would be coming out of your hotspot allowance, which may be limited to 10 gigabytes a month. After that, your speeds would be reduced to 3G or 2G speeds. With the MoFi 4500, you can essentially trick the T-Mobile service into thinking that you're on a wireless device, even if you're using a home computer. Therefore, you will not be throttled. Some of the drawbacks of the MoFi 4500 is that it does not have gigabit support. Therefore, you do not have 1000 megabytes per second access on any of the ports. As long as you're okay with that, it's a great option. So you can also do what I did and disable the internal router on the MoFi 4500. This disables the Wi-Fi and makes the MoFi 4500 strictly the cellular modem. It's then sent via Ethernet cable to a high-speed gigabit router and then a switch. That way you can have IP cameras and a very fast connection within your house while still taking advantage of the great cellular modem in the MoFi 4500. The other main option that's out there now is the Netgear LB1120. And this is a popular lower cost LTE router that works on both AT&T and T-Mobile. Some people have found a way to get it to work on Verizon also, by activating the SIM card in another device and then transferring it to this unit. It's mainly branded as an AT&T compatible device. The Netgear LB1120 does not have a built-in router, unlike the MoFi 4500. You can get them for around $100 online, and it will have to be paired to a traditional Wi-Fi router. In this essence, it's just like a cable modem, standalone by itself, without a router. It does have gigabit capability, but I highly doubt in most places you'll be able to get over 100 megabits per second wireless speeds. so to take advantage of it at this point is unlikely. Also, it does not support carrier aggregation. The MoFi 4500 does. What carrier aggregation does is it allows the device to communicate on multiple frequency bands at the same time to enhance your speed. So in conclusion, I've covered multiple options for service for wireless internet for rural customers. I've also covered the hardware that you can use for these different services. Some of the companies, such as 4G Antenna Shop, offer their own modems that include Wi-Fi for a relatively low cost. So in conclusion, there really is no great answer for wireless internet for rural customers, except that if you put a little bit of work and thought into it, you can come up with a usable solution. And depending on where you live, there should be at least one good option. So even if you live in an area where there's no LTE coverage, at least satellite is becoming a better option with the launching of new satellite equipment with higher speeds. Hopefully this video was informative and maybe helped some of you out there who were in a similar situation to me when I moved out to the middle of nowhere. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Like and subscribe if this video helped you out. And thanks. We'll see you next time.